Good morning and welcome to the trade setup right here on BloombergQuint Live. I'm Niraj Shah, and it's a mixed bag of trades simply because while the global markets were up and active in trade yesterday, the post-market hour earnings are left a bit to be desired. So first, you will see wherever you look, you will see the headline numbers which show that Dow, S&P, and Nasdaq all did well, and Nasdaq in particular was doing okay. But I think you got to read between the lines a little bit, or not between the lines really, but just look at slightly ahead. And the post-market hours release of both Amazon and Apple, the two big names, weren't the best. They were okay actually. Amazon actually did reasonably okay too, but I think Dow futures have fallen 200 points. As both Apple and Amazon have declined post earnings. Amazon too, I think in the post market hours is trading with a bit of red, and as a result of which Dow futures have fallen 200 points. There's also, of course, all-time high of daily cases in the US. There are a couple of states have posted some very, very high coronavirus cases, as a result of which the COVID cases in US are now hitting all-time highs. Now, that is a bit of a worry, you will have to agree. And I think all the bulls were hoping, the short-term trading bulls were hoping that if the tech earnings are good, then the markets get a bit of a solace. Otherwise, the markets had been selling off because of rising COVID cases and no stimulus. I think that story comes back, and you have to bear that in the back of your mind. So that is the problem. Before I get to the trade setup, Asia and SGX Nifty will come on your screen, and let's just show you what's happening there. So Asia, HSI down about 1/3%. Kospi trading with a bit of a red, and I won't be surprised if the SGX Nifty is trading with a bit of a red as well. And even if the reds are not very pronounced, I think the gains by and large today will be capped, if there are any. In all probability, there could be losses. So about 1/3% for the SGX Nifty as well. So now at 11,630, we've comfortably taken out 11,700 yesterday, and we are looking like day before yesterday, we are looking like we're going to continue in the same range. So while 11,600 remains a support, don't quite know how strong a support it is. Now, therefore, what's the trade setup looking like? Well, frankly, I had thought yesterday and early morning that the Nasdaq stability would help the Indian markets and the tech stocks, but I doubt that would continue. So tech could be under pressure. Rate sensitives could be under pressure because they continue to face some selling pressure, as was the case yesterday. And Apple suppliers in the Asia Pacific region could have some pressure as well. I think I'll watch out for a couple of them in India too. So all those companies would have some issues in the session today. Now, viewers, a couple of things keep in mind that I think when I just look at the October series, which ended yesterday, and when you look at the November series, very strong rollovers across the board, market-wide rollovers, stock futures rollovers, all of them are very strong. So therefore, the market is not light. The market is heavy. And if indeed there is some adverse news flow, lockdowns, an election verdict that doesn't please the markets globally, and all of that, then we might have a fairly pronounced reaction. So you have to be mindful of that. Just keep that at the back of your mind. And what should we watch out for today? So first, the Nifty numbers, there are 4 of them. The biggest one, of course, comes out post-market hours, and what Reliance does. And the conversation and the commentary could well have an impact on the market mood. I doubt that the commentary from Reliance would be bad. But let's see what they post. Otherwise, IOC would be important for other reasons than just its numbers. UPL and IndusInd Bank are the other ones. I'll get to the other reasons in a bit. I just want to also tell you about a few mid-cap names that all of us should be watching out for. These 3, I presume, would become very important from what their earnings numbers could look like. Deepak Nitrite on the specialty chemical space, Dhanuk Agri from the agrarian space, and they posted a very good number the last quarter too. And Dixon is an important stock simply because it is such a hype around Dixon because of the PLI, because of the kind of move that it's had. It's arguably been the stock of 2020, and therefore it needs to deliver earnings which are symptomatic of that. So let's wait and watch if that happens. Stocks to monitor today. And I think PSUs by and large remain in focus. The one name that will certainly be in focus is HPCL. The company has announced that it is going to consider a buyback of shares. Now, just keep in mind, technically, the board can buy back I think, as per my math, about 2,800 odd crores, which is about 10% of its reserves, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, 10% of its reserves. And the stock is below the FY20 book value of 190. So it is in the right spot to do the buyback. Now, the stock had already run up a bit yesterday. And could there be a further run up today? I'm guessing there could be. There could be on the basis of this announcement. But I think what this HPCL buyback announcement does is bring out the all the PSUs in focus. So do your math. We'll try and do it in our story at some point of time in the day. But do your math. Simply figure out what are the cash on the books for PSUs, which potentially can do some buyback, and you might actually have a strong reactive moves in all of these. So HPCL today remains firmly a stock in focus. Do watch out. Thanks to my producer, like I said, we had a sharp rally in trade yesterday in HPCL, but I would reckon there's some more juice left. Axis Capital came out with a note on TVS Motors, which kind of brings out what others are saying about this as well. They're saying the Q2 is good, but the valuation premium is unjustified because the beat is led by a steep decline in other expenses, which may not last, as is the case with Havells, by the way. The gross profit to the vehicle per vehicle declined by 5% on a YOY basis. That's very, very interesting for Axis Capital. So the EBITDA margin obviously didn't happen because of gross profit margin expansion, but other margins expansion. Management has indicated that the marginal growth in festive retails thus far, this is again contrast to what Hero's confidence was about the festive season. And the valuation for TVS is at a significant premium to Hero and Bajaj, which according to Axis Capital is unjustified. Well, let's see if TVS Motors has a bit of a decline in the session today. So I'll watch out for this one too. I'll watch out for a bunch of the stocks which saw some fresh short positions being built in trade yesterday. And all of these should be monitored. Now, ONGC is a separate case in point today because of the HPCL announcement and maybe the general flare-up in PSUs that might be seen. But L&T, Titan, L&T Finance, all of these saw some fresh short positions, L&T in particular, but the others too. And therefore, you got to watch out for all of these stocks in the session today. These would be important. Last but not the least, viewers, something that stood out for us today at BloombergQuint was, and me in particular, was this price in gold. Now, we've been all arguing about how gold seems to be a safe hedge. And what's slipped under the radar is the third straight month of a downtrend for gold. So while it was right in the mix until about July, August, September, and October thus far, and we are almost at the end now, last two trading sessions for the commodity, and it's headed for the third monthly drop. This is the longest run since 2019, and that tells you a story about the kind of, not risk off really, but the losing sheen of the precious metal. Now, the point being, because it's so long, can there be a bit of a reversal? Well, I'm not an expert out here in gold. I'm just bringing this out, that while all of us are clued into gold and Dhanteras will see gold buying, etc., which might well help reverse the trend. India is a big buyer of gold in that season. But just that the last 3 months, gold has actually given negative returns. Be careful when you buy based on public advice. But viewers, thanks so much for tuning in to the trade setup today. A lot of reactions might happen. I'm not quite sure how would the Tata Group stocks react to the Shapoorji Pallonji Mistry Group proposal yesterday. So I've left that out. But a lot of other stocks, including PSUs, would be firmly in focus. Thanks so much for tuning in.